Will the wild picture-in-picture continue, or was that a one-time deal? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I cannot speak, I don't know why. Today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 6 of City the Animation, and last time was one hell of an interesting episode, because we had the split screen thing going on, showing all these different things happening with all these different characters at once, and most of the time you couldn't hear more than just the main thing going on, but it switched a couple of times. It was such a unique idea. And we didn't need to hear everything going on because we could kind of figure it out just from seeing it. We didn't need every bit of dialogue. But it all kind of culminated in everyone coming together for this big block party celebration at the end. And I feel the best way to put it is that it feels like what this series is about. If you've seen Nichijou, the other series by the same creator, Nichijou is one of those shows where it's gag comedy, everything's really crazy and weird, strange things are happening that can't really be explained. And a lot of the continuity just doesn't really exist. It's one of those types of shows where you could tune into pretty much any episode and you'll be able to follow along, but you also won't be able to follow along because it's Nichijou and it makes no sense. But you know what I mean. So City has been different. City does have some gaggy stuff to it. It does have some really weird, goofy, silly shit. But it's not as silly as Nichijou. It does have a more grounded feel. And that seems to be because most of the cast tend to be older. Especially our main trio. I've talked about this before, but the main trio in Nichijou were teenagers. They were high schoolers. But here in City, our main trio are college students. They're a little older. They're still goofy. They're still weird. They're still, getting up to all kinds of crazy shenanigans. But they're a little more mature. And I think that's kind of the vibe it's going for. The show is a little more mature. It still has its weirdness and goofiness. But it's more for the kind of audience that would grow up with Nichijou. And that still have that goofy side to them that they don't even want to really get rid of because it's a part of who they are and it's something they enjoy about themselves. That's the kind of vibe this gives to me. And last episode felt like kind of a culmination of everything that this show is about. You have all these different characters throughout the city, all these different stories going on, but in the end, they come together to create one picture. The city isn't the city if any of them are missing. Every single character here is important to what this series represents. And that is the coming together of society. And I've seen... I don't go out of my way looking for reviews or thoughts on this series. But I did see in a comment on Facebook, actually, randomly, I saw someone say that episode 5 was like a spiritual experience to them, which is crazy sounding. But they explained that it was just it was so well handled in a way that you understood everything going on and weren't lost at all, despite the crazy presentation of the episode. And the way it did come together in the end just made it feel like it was all not only worth it, but all extremely well thought out to the point of brilliance. And this person just like kind of went on to describe everything about it that just worked, and how it's one of those cases of an episode that feels very different from the rest of the episodes of a series, but stands out in a way that makes it really, like, exceptionally entrancing. You can't look away. You can't, like, ignore it. Because it feels, again, like I said, so kind of important to the themes and ideas of this series. And so, yeah, it's just, it was a pretty well done episode. I don't know if I would personally go as far to describe it as a spiritual experience. I think that's a bit much, personally. But if someone really enjoyed it to that degree, it's like the show's doing its job. And I think I said last time, I don't know how that was done in the manga. I don't know if there was just like a lot more paneling, if that was the idea. But I really like how that was handled here. And I'm excited to see where this goes, because I'm enjoying this for the casual entertainment of it, because like Nichijou, it's a very casually entertaining show. You don't have to get super invested. You don't have to get like super in depth with its story. You just have to enjoy the goofiness and fun. Because at the end of the day, it is still very much like Nichijou. As much as there are differences, it is still a slice of life comedy. And it's meant to be seen as such. It's meant to be seen as something you can just, pick up and enjoy. And so I'm very curious as to what characters we're going to follow today. I mean, I assume we're going to follow our main trio, because we pretty much always do. But I wonder what other characters we're going to follow today. I wonder what other characters we might see that we haven't met before. Because we're definitely going to meet more characters we haven't seen yet. And I wonder what kind of wacky shenanigans we're going to get into. I say let us just get into this and find out. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Well, that was certainly unexpected. Went from all the goofy shenanigans in this episode to Melonhead to making me actually tear up. It's like, what the fuck? And I think Nichijou made me tear up a little bit once or twice here and there. But that ending with Echan and Matsuri was super unexpected. Because it's like, we knew this had to happen. This had been set up, and like they had like even brought it up again once or twice. But the way this is handled, with Echan putting the melon head on Matsuri because it's really hard for her to talk to her about this, and this is helping her be able to concentrate enough to be able to say something about it. But then Matsuri, like, completely seeming to take it unseriously and goof around and quote historical Japanese figures like Hideyoshi, Ieyasu, and Oda Nobunaga. But in reality, we see that she's also, like, using the melon and using this goofiness to hide her own emotions. As when Echan removes the melon, you see her crying, and it makes Echan cry, and it's just like, I'm crying. And it's like, Jesus fuck. this series that's like mostly goofy and silly, and we have so many goofy moments in this, like with the fake out death, and the Grim Reaper even showing up, with Nikara getting like absolutely pounded in the face with soccer balls, to just all of the crazy shit going on with this with Todoroki, whether through the misunderstanding and consistent panic attacks happening with the mangaka, whose name I cannot remember, and then trying to get Wako serialized, which it seems like I guess she is the one who has been putting those there, but she doesn't want to be serialized. She's just, being Wako. it's it's so zany and weird and crazy, and it's very much city. It's very much just like Nichijou was. Like I talked about in the opening, it is, or in the pre-thoughts, it is more down to earth. It is more simple. It is more, grounded. Nichijou got like really wacky to the point where it's like some crazy shit was going down. But while this is more grounded, it's still goofy. And it kind of gives the vibe of like, okay, you're growing up, but you're not letting go of, having fun and enjoying life. That's the kind of vibe it gives to me, which is something I Stanley strong. Wow, messed that up. Something I strongly stand by. The idea of like, even as you grow up and become an adult and everything, the idea of abandoning the fun things in life, or the quote unquote childish things, has always rubbed me the wrong way. There are these people out there who will say like, oh, you're an adult now, you can't have stuffed animals, you can't watch cartoons, you can't play video games. And it's like, why the fuck not? How is that immature or childish? Especially with a lot of video games and whatnot having like a lot of blood and gore and nudity and heavy violence. But it's like, just the idea of that. Why is that a child's thing? That's never made sense to me. Anyone of any age can enjoy anything. Whether it's a video game, a TV show, a comic, stuffed animals. You don't have to be a kid to enjoy that stuff. And you can enjoy that stuff as a kid, and you can enjoy that stuff as an adult. It doesn't matter. And honestly, if it's not hurting anyone, why is it so important? And so I've always stood by the idea that, like, as you grow up and become an adult, you don't have to leave that stuff behind. That's just, conditioning that society has forced on us to try and, like, suck our joy away and make us feel like we have to do nothing but like think about taxes and work all the time. I feel like a lot of that comes from capitalism, to be fair. But not going to get into that entire like shindig today. That spiel, I guess. Because it's like I could talk about that for a long time. That's not really the point. The point is, this series has like a very unserious tone most of the time, but then it's like suddenly you're hit like a brick to the face, or I guess a soccer ball to the face, with sudden emotion. And it's just like, and it's genuine. It feels real. Because I don't know about all of you, but I've been there. My family moved around a lot when I was young, when I was in school. Most notably, I went to 4 different high schools. My family moved around a lot, and I had a hard time making friends because of that. And it's actually, I feel, one of the contributing factors to why I became so reserved and shy, because I didn't have time to connect with anybody a lot of the time. because even before high school, we moved around many times. Like, I think 3 or 4 times before high school. It's just like, whether it was for my father's job, my mother's job, I think it was mostly my mother's jobs. Because she could never keep a job. She switched jobs, like, constantly. But, like, we moved around all the time. And it created this kind of disconnect between me and anyone I would want to be friends with. And so I became a lot, like extremely reserved and timid because of it. And I've gotten better over the years since adulthood. I've definitely gotten better with my timidness to where I can, hold conversations a lot better now. I'm still very shy. Like, if you ever met me in real life, I would not be, like, conversing as strongly as I do on the channel here. I would be very shy, very awkward, very quiet. I have a hard time in real life still talking to people. But stuff like going to conventions, hosting panels at conventions especially, but also even working at conventions where I, like, watch the door and everything to check people's badges. I've had conversations with people while they're waiting in line. Doing stuff like that, and obviously running the channel has helped me come out of my shell a lot more. But I've had to say goodbye to friends when moving. And some of those friends I have not been able to stay in contact with for one reason or another. Most of the friends that I grew up with, I am not in contact with anymore. I think the only friend that I still have from... Okay, there's a couple friends... I think there's 2 friends I still have from before I graduated high school. One of them was a friend from church who I'm friends with on Facebook, but I don't really talk to her too much. We just occasionally she'll comment on a post I make or something like that. That's about it. But then there's my friend Derek, who is my longest lasting friend that I've known since I was in middle school. I think he was in 9th grade and I was in like 7th or 8th grade when we met. He's a couple years older. But yeah, he's like the longest lasting friend I've had, and I just even saw him again at Michigan Anime Con, so that was pretty cool, especially because it was a huge surprise. I did not know he was going to be there. He just showed up and like suddenly surprised me and said hi, and I'm like, whoa, oh, hey, who, what? I think I actually said holy shit when he just came up and said hi. Like, I was just genuinely that surprised. But yeah, it's like, I'm not in contact with most of my friends from when I was young because I just wasn't able to keep in contact with them through not knowing numbers or not being able... At the time, there wasn't really much Facebook and stuff, so I couldn't keep in contact with them online. And it's just... It sucks. Like, 99% of my friends I met, like, as an adult, like, through conventions and my current church and stuff like that. But seeing both of their reactions at the end, and the very, very short post-credit shot of them just sitting by the water together, like, that almost got me, like, even further. That almost, like, broke me more than just the crying did, because it felt so real. And it seems like Etchan moving is just going to be temporary. It seems like it's just going to be for the summer. She said that her family's moving to England for the summer, so she will be back. But again, these are like best friends who are in school still, who spend every day hanging out in and out of school. And so when the summer comes, when it's like they're supposed to be like spending all day together, playing and running around and just, being kids, it's like one of them has to move away for a few months or however long summer vacation in Japan is. I actually have no idea. I don't think it's as long. I think summer vacation is shorter in Japan than it is in America. In America, um, summer vacation starts at like the beginning to middle of June, and and kids come back like I think either the end of August or beginning of September. Um, I think it's also changed over time, so it might not be the same as when I went to school. But yeah, there's a few months in between. But I don't think Japan has as many, so luckily that helps. I mean, she'll be back before she knows it, but that time away, it's like that's gonna be hard for her, for a kid to go through that loneliness, especially if she doesn't have many other friends. It's like that's gonna suck. And luckily, it is only temporary. That does help, but still. Um, I just noticed I don't think we had any Nagamo this episode, like at all. If I go back to this, I'm gonna mute it, of course. I also did we get the opening this up? I don't think we had the opening, did we? Because we started with Adatara's family, which we'd seen Adatara before in the class because he's like the perfect student and all. Yeah, this file, I guess maybe just this file didn't have the opening for whatever reason. But we started with Adatara's family, which is huge. And the grandfather is the scientist we saw before. Um, and then we went to Nikura and the soccer team, and it just kept going. And we didn't get any Nagamo in this episode. I know she was like the main focus of last episode, but still. We had the fake out death. Um, then we had the manga moment here. Where they were basically like wrestling each other over a misunderstanding. And then there's this really short thing. Okay, Nagamo is shown during this. There's this really short chapter called Wako Izumi Mission. Oh, hold on. I'm looking through this briefly. Hold on, I think I can play this because it's so short. The Wako Izumi Mission one. I have it muted, so you shouldn't be able to hear it. Wako Izumi's mission. I don't know why I didn't pluralize that. But it's like Nagamo's looking at like something in a magazine that, like as a way of making money. Her and Nikura are going around taking pictures. They give like some letters to they give some like letters or notes to Wako, who after meeting with a cop like puts them in the mailbox. And it's like I'm wondering, is like, could that be the script? Like, was it Nagamo and Nikura who made it and not Wako in the first place? Maybe that's why she was so heavily denying it, or denying like getting serialized. I don't know. Either way, there's a lot that happened in this, and it was just another really good episode. So thank you as always so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down below. For now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.